community, member of the Sacramento City Council, District 2, former Sacramento supervisor and state assembly member. Jay played guard at Cal.
Could handle the rock, baby.
He played guard.
Shoot it.
Yeah.
Pass it.
Yeah. Roger Dickinson with us. How are you today, Roger?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're good. It's been a long, long time since we've had you on the air. We appreciate your time very much. Now, first things first, I know you're a San Francisco Giants fan.
Jay was going to start with this.
Jay has been kind of bad-mouthing the Giants for a while, but is there time for them to scrap and claw their way into the postseason, Roger?
Well, I'd say never give up hope. I was at the game on Sunday. It was a beautiful day and a beautiful game unless you were a Baltimore Orioles fan because they couldn't seem to field the ball. but you got to be encouraged, I think. And looking at the way I think Devers and Adames are settling in, I think Chapman's, back and better. I think he probably came back a little too soon after his hand injury initially. I'd say the issue going down the stretch for them is probably going to be more pitching than hitting, oddly enough, given the way they have underperformed offensively this season. But they seem to be hitting well. But where's the pitching coming from? I think that's, if I had a concern, that's what it would be.
There you go, Jay.
I understand. Roger, forecasting, and I'll say this. I think this season, the 4.5 game behind the New York Mets, even though Whitey's told me the Mets have lost today, the Giants get to play the Rockies yet again, so they'll probably pick up another half game. Foreshadowing, after this year, next year, a lot of people have put their hopes on your guy, the all-star, the new general manager. Do you believe in what the movement is going on over with the Giants?
I like it. I got to say, I like it. Truthfully, I was not a big fan of Farhan, and I think they needed a change in direction, which they've taken. I know there have been people who have been critical of Melvin as the manager, but I like Bomel, and of course he's a Cal guy. You know that.
That's right.
He's I think he knows what he's doing. I mean, he's been around the game a long time. So I think Posey has got a great fix on what needs to be done to be successful. He obviously was that and more, an all-star catcher, a Hall of Fame catcher, I think. When the time comes, and so I like where things are headed.
It's Roger Dickinson, Sacramento City Council member, and that's enough about the Giants, Roger, because we got baseball here in Sacramento. How, in your opinion, has Sacramento's experiment with the A's worked in year one, all things considered?
I think that generally speaking, I know some people have been disappointed with the attendance. I think there are some external reasons for that maybe we don't need to talk about. But Sacramento, this region is baseball. Sacramento is a baseball town, and when I was on the board of supervisors and very involved in getting Rayleigh Field built, so we had a place and got the River Caps here. There was no doubt in my mind that they would be successful because of that strong baseball tradition that we have in this region. And I think we could do the same for Major League Baseball. I don't think our challenge here, ultimately, if we got an expansion team, for example, would be attendance. Our challenge here is the challenge. It is generally for our community, whether we're talking about the arts or sports or any kind of charitable endeavors. It's the kind of corporate base that you need to have to be successful. And so that's the side of the equation, I think, more than anything else we need to work on. But you guys may not know this, but our whole plan or idea when we went after AAA baseball in the late 90s was to lay the foundation so we could demonstrate to Major League Baseball that we deserved a major league team when the time came, and I think we can do that. I think we can meet that test.
Yeah, Councilman, I actually agree with you. I'm gonna follow up right there because I think I know you've played a huge part in keeping sports here in Sacramento and moving the narrative forward. as Whitey introduced you, or excuse me, teased you last segment, talking about your efforts in Arco Arena and of course the Golden One.
And
now
that arena that never got built. And
right.
even though it looked like it was going to fail, Roger, I'll never forget. I think you came on the show and you said, like, the Saturday before the election, and the poll said there was no chance, and you said, I'm going to go out and knock on doors. You got to try. And I'll never forget that you made that effort. Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, thankfully we got Golden One, and in the end, it was a torturous path to get there. But as I said at the time, and I continue to say, that is not about the rich guys who own the team. It's not about the rich guys in short pants who run up and down the floor. It's about us. It's what do we want for Sacramento? What do we want in the way of entertainment options and alternative offerings? Do we want the best artists in the world to come and have concerts here? Do we want to have Disney on Ice? Do we want to have pro basketball? Do we want to have Major League Baseball? If those are things we want for our community, then we need to be willing to invest to make them happen. But it's not about the ball players, frankly. It's not about the singers. It's about us. It's about what we want for our community to make it the best place possible to live and enjoy.
Councilman, it's great to hear that, because I guess this is a twofold question for you, sir, is how did you have the foresight in seeing that our community, Sacramento, our region, could really push the narrative of saying, look, we can support major league sports. And then on top of that, to be a season ticket holder for the Giants, to be a season ticket holder for the San Francisco 49ers. I hope I'm not telling your business, but to be a season ticket holder for Cal. And then now you get to see a top flight arena right here in your backyard, the G1C. How does that make you feel?
Well, I think it's what the people of Sacramento deserve to have. I think this, you know, some people have said historically that we want to be a world-class city. I've always taken a little bit different view of that, and what I've always said is we want to be a first-class city. We have and deserve the best for the people of this city and of this region. We have, I think, the kind of support and enthusiasm for a whole host of entertainment options across the board in sports, arts, and the rest. We have a need in one way to have those things here in our community to serve our community and its institutions. So I've never doubted, as I have lived through most of my years now here in Sacramento. I didn't grow up here. I grew up in the East Bay, but I've watched Sacramento, this entire region, grow and mature and evolve into a place that I think is equal to any place in the country. And so, you know, I don't want Sacramento to be San Francisco or Paris or anywhere else. I want it to be Sacramento. We are our own special place, and we deserve to create our own history, and we deserve for people to have the very best quality of life possible.
It's Roger Dickinson, member of the Sacramento City Council. It's interesting, Council Member Dickinson, because now we have plans for the Rail Yard Soccer Stadium, and we have Sac State talking about the football stadium at Cal Expo, and we talked about MLB expansion. A lot of people think there will be a plan hatched for a stadium somewhere in Sacramento next year. All of a sudden, plans for maybe 3 different stadiums. Is there any rhyme or reason as to why this is all happening at this juncture?
I think it's because we're really on the cusp of the next great leap for the city and for the region. You know, as we look at what's happening with growth, with industry, with commerce, even within the state of California, we have a lot of people coming here from the Bay Area, from Southern California. Our cost of living is a little bit more affordable than other parts of the state. We are always going to be the center of state government with the capital here. We have a lot, plus generally climate notwithstanding. Obviously, we have toasty summers, but you know what? We have so much to attract people here, and one of the things we have struggled with over the years is to establish an identity for Sacramento. But I think we're emerging as a place that people recognize. I can tell you, in years I went to talk to some airlines, and we had to pull out the map to show them where Sacramento was. We were trying to get them to start service here. You don't have to do that anymore. We are on the map, and we're growing to be a bigger and bigger and more important place in that regard. I think what you're seeing in terms of what's going on at Sac State, what's going on with soccer, the possibility of Major League Baseball, I think those are all just a reflection of the continued elevation of our city and our area, not just in sports, by the way, but in lots of different capacities, food, retail commerce, the arts, really across the board.
Councilman, joined by Councilman Roger Dickinson. All right, enough of that, because I got to ask you about your 49ers. We're a 49er station. I know you're enthralled about the 49ers. Give me a preview of the season, sir. Give me some hope, because I'm teetering on this team is going to make the playoffs, but I'm having a hard time seeing a Super Bowl run from my 49ers right now. The faithful. You part of the faithful. Give me some love here.
Keep the faith. Well, one small modification. I don't have season tickets for the Niners, but I am a 49ers fan, no doubt about that. And you know what? I think the big question for the 49ers obviously has to do with the receiving core. Now John Jennings is back and productive. I mean, that's a big step in the right direction. I'm among those who think Brock Purdy is really incredible in what he has done. I am not one of those who downplays his ability or talent, and I think he can take the 49ers, assuming McCaffrey is healthy. I think they can be very competitive, very successful. I think that last year was going to be an anomaly. I think as we look in the rearview mirror, the injuries obviously had a huge impact on them, and of course, in football at any level, it's injuries that are such an influential factor on how teams are able to perform ultimately. But if the 49ers can stay relatively healthy, I like their shot. I like their chances.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Look at
Yeah.
Councilman Dickinson giving me some hope. I appreciate that. Councilman, I don't know if you've had an opportunity. This just came down the pipe, and maybe you have your hand in behind this as well. Have you heard the new movement that's going to happen over at Cal, where they're welcoming the black bear, which is like a resemblance of the black hole?
Black hole at Cal games, and they're going to call it the black bear
at the football games.
In one end zone.
In one of the end zones. Now, I know you frequent your Cal games here and there. You guys had a good weekend here, to start the season. What's your thoughts on that, especially coming from the East Bay?
In the middle
the
of
black
bear.
I don't know. Now you guys are ahead of me on this one. I haven't heard this one, so I got to admit I'm not familiar with it. But we take great pride in being golden bears. So we'll have to see how a black bear fits in. But the changing landscape of college sports, it's almost hard to keep up with what has happened over even just the last 5 years. And my good friend Nancy Skinner, of course, carried legislation that in many ways kicked off the NIL movement. And I am one of those who is not necessarily a huge fan of the kind of changes we're seeing in college sports. But we're going in a direction, I think, that ultimately may really divide the schools into those that are playing at the level of a lot of national attention, and those that are playing at a much less intense level.
Councilman, you've had the opportunity to be part of Cal, obviously playing basketball. You've been a part of Cal ever since, I would imagine, you gave that scholarship money that academic money, that tuition. What's your take on where Cal sits? Of course, now being part of the ACC and the Pac-12, and you're from the traditional Pac-8, Pac-10, the Pac-12. Yeah. Like, what's your take on where Cal is, and as you talked about, college sports is right now?
Well, I think the demise of the Pac-12 was something that it could easily have been avoided, and there's a lot of blame, I think, that can be assigned to people who should have known better, that led to losing the Pac-12, and it left. I think quite obviously it left Stanford and Cal in particular in a very difficult place where they didn't have a lot of good choices. You can argue whether joining the ACC was the best of those not very attractive choices or not. But I would say this: I think it's going to be very hard for Stanford and Cal in the premier sports, particularly football and basketball, to compete successfully, at least over the next several years in the ACC. And there are a couple of reasons for that in particular. I mean, one is the travel, whereas the East Coast teams are making one trip to the West Coast a year, Cal and Stanford are making 4 and 5 trips for their football teams. And that's, kids are young, they're tough, they're resilient, but that's hard. That is really a hard thing to do. The second is, obviously, to get into the ACC, Cal and Stanford made huge concessions on the revenue side with respect to the media contracts, and that makes it tough. You've got to these days raise the money. You've got to have the resources to attract and keep kids in your program. There are certainly kids who were playing at Cal last year. And maybe every other school, but certainly in Cal, that transferred not because they didn't like the coach or not because they didn't like Berkeley or things like that, but because they could get a better deal at another school. And I think that's one of the things that, we're going to come to have to try to grapple with in the next few years with college sports, is this huge movement of players each year from one school to another. So that's, I think, something that is particularly challenging for Cal, which is still carrying a large debt on the improvements and upgrades that were made to Memorial Stadium and the seismic work that had to be done. So there's a heavy financial load that Cal is carrying, even beyond what Stanford is dealing with, that I think make it disadvantageous in competing with a lot of the other schools. On the other hand, there's no experience like going to the University of California at Berkeley. I mean, there's no place else in the country, in my humble opinion, that matches that experience. And if you leave Berkeley with a degree in your hand, you are going to have a better life because of that degree.
Roger Dickinson, council member, thank you so much for your time and all your optimistic notes on the Giants, on the 49ers, and Sacramento's stadium future. We appreciate it, Roger. Hope to talk to you again soon.
Great to be with you.
Let's go Bears.
Let's go Bears.
Yeah. My mom